again by Damien Brown, who is now a UFC veteran. He is no longer on the roster, and I know tonight he was cornering one of his teammates, and right now he's kind of looking like Batman a little bit in this car. Damien, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's like midnight here, so just finished cornering my boy. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing real good.
Great. Well, it's good to talk to you again. I wish it was under better circumstances, but nonetheless, let's talk about this UFC release. How did you find out, and was this something you were expecting?
I think it was like half and half. You know, like you kind of expect, you sort of expect after two fights, after two losses, you might get released, and then there's a clause in our contract, and I'm sure the guys that are higher up probably don't have it. That's why they get a few more fights, but there's a clause in our contract that states the UFC can release us after any single loss. So technically they can get rid of you after one loss, but I was pretty optimistic, obviously, after a fight of the night against an opponent that missed weight, that I would get another one, and I did that. I'm a little disappointed the way I went out. Basically because I lost another split decision, and I feel like I didn't lose. Maybe some thought I did, but I felt like I outstriked my opponent, controlled the cage. I really feel like I dominated the fight without brawling, I guess, like I normally do. So I'm disappointed that I went out that way. Like, at least if I was going to get cut, I wish it was kind of like the Sydney fight. But that's the way this sport goes, and the UFC never really indicated that they were going to release me initially. I mean, they never say anything to you. My manager spoke to the matchmakers, and they weren't very positive in regards to giving me another fight, but they never directly said, "Oh, we're going to release him." And then I guess what they do is they make sure that your opponent's drug test comes back negative. If it comes back positive, you kind of automatically, it gets overturned to a no contest, and you get another fight off that normally. But obviously, they came back negative, and probably about, I guess I sort of expected it initially, and then, I had some surgery on my knee recently. They paid for that. They covered all the surgery on my knee and my rehab and that, which I'm still going through, and they're still covering it. Like, the UFC's been awesome. So I kind of hoped that maybe that was an indication that I was going to get another fight. But yeah, then, I got drug tested one weekend on a Sunday, and then on the Monday I got released, and I was like, man, this it sucked, because every little thing that happened, I kind of felt a little bit more confident, like I was going to get another one. But, they just rang up my manager and just said, look, contact us again when we're in your region, but you guys are going to probably get the release papers tomorrow morning. And they came through the next morning, like they said. So, I had 2 fights left on my deal. I think there's a bunch of people out there that think maybe I just didn't get my contract renewed, but I actually had 2 fights left. And yeah, that's pretty much how it happened anyway. That, obviously they tell you, to contact them again when you're in the area, and I guess, like, maybe if I've had a few more, like another fight or 2 between now and then, and picked up a couple of wins or something, then they need someone again short notice, they might hit me up. But I'm not. I was devastated to start with. I was like, this is my dream. Everything I ever wanted to do was be in the UFC. So I was devastated to start with. I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was a bit lost, but I think I'll find my feet pretty good when I get cleared to fight again.
Well, what I think's interesting about it as well, and I understand lightweight is a very deep division, but you're an exciting fighter. I mean, I could see if you're going out there and trying to play it safe, and maybe the crowd's booing or anything like that. But you're going out there and putting on fight of the night performances, so that's a bit surprising. The one thing I wasn't surprised by, though, is I saw on social media a lot of people giving you really good feedback. That must have been a little nice, just seeing how many fans and other people just appreciate what you do in the octagon.
Yeah, I mean, the posts that I put up on my social media networks, like on my platforms, there was not one negative comment. I mean, at the end of the day, like I always said, that I'll never change my fight style when I was in the UFC to save my career. I fight the way I fight. and I fight so when fans leave, they got something to talk about. Unfortunately, and hence the reason why I was disappointed. My last fight wasn't so much that, but I think it's just a case of two counter strikers who probably both thought each other was going to come forwards. I know I definitely game planned for him to come forwards, close the distance, clinch against the cage, and take me down. And I guess after I broke his leg in the first round with those leg kicks, he didn't come forward anymore. So it became a very, striking orientated match from a distance. And I didn't really pick up on it until the third round. So it's disappointing. Like I don't really have too many words for it. Like I go out there and I put it on, but at the end of the day, they're a business, and they want fighters that are making it to the top. And if you're not making it to the top, then you kind of don't really have any business there. I can appreciate that and what the UFC is all about. And if I go and get another, 1, 2, 3 fights and they need someone, then I'm their man. You know what I mean? Like I'll fight anywhere from short notice. I'll fight at welterweight. You know what I mean? But so yeah, if they need someone, they can call me. I'm going to take the fight. I'm not giving up. I'm not stopping. I'm not retiring or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, if they want exciting fights, they just got to give me a call. So yeah.
I agree with that. But by the sounds of it, though, it sounds like you have a pretty good relationship with the UFC. It wasn't something where they're, they're really wanting to get rid of you. Like it seems like they said the door's open if they come back to, anywhere close to where you live. So that's good, at least, I guess, is that the relationship sounds like it's still pretty solid.
Man, I thought I had a good relationship with the UFC. Sean Shelby's the man. I was always in contact with him. My manager, from as far as I know, has a good relationship with him. So yeah, it's I like the UFC. The UFC treated me unreal when I was in there. They treated me unreal every time I had an injury. I got 3 surgeries when I was out of 6 fights. I had 3 operations, and I was always treated awesome. I was always taken care of. The UFC staff are amazing at events, and like I said, I never once said no to a fight. The 6 guys I fought were always the first 6 guys offered to me on each occasion. I never say no to a fight. I wouldn't say no to a fight ever. I could be 3 hours out from a fight and they could change my opponent to the main, like whoever. Like they could have a main event drop out and go, "Do you want to fight this number 5 dude?" I'll fight him. You know what I mean? I'll fight anyone. So yeah, it's I thought I still think I had a pretty good relationship with them. Probably my only disappointment was that I requested on 2 occasions, my last 2 fights, to go to featherweight, and both times I got offered a lightweight opponent, and I'm so disappointed that I didn't get a chance to fight at featherweight in the UFC, because I always said I'd never drop the featherweight unless I had a decent reason, and I always felt like the UFC was a good enough reason. I don't feel like I'm out-muscled or anything in lightweight, but I feel like as you go up the rankings, that's where I would have had problems, so I always wanted to go down. And I didn't really cut any more than about 2 pounds of water to make the lightweight limit, so the UFC was awesome, and I believe I had a good relationship with them, and hopefully when they come back down here, if they need someone, I'll stick my hand up. I'm injured at the moment, but I'll be ready by then for sure.
Okay, and so the sounds of it is, you do stay in training camp just in case something comes up. As far as offers, I am sure there's been, there must be some promotions that are wanting to pick you up, but I guess it kind of just depends, what promotions are going to be doing shows near where you are. I know Hex Fight Series, I believe, does a lot of stuff in Australia. Is that kind of what you're looking at?
Nah, not at all. I don't want to fight in Australia ever again. I feel like the problem is universal. It's across the world, but I feel like all Australian athletic commissions are usually, for mixed martial arts, are under a boxing commission. And I feel like the judges are not experienced in MMA, and I don't feel like they have any place judging MMA. So I felt like I won my last 2 fights. In saying that, take nothing away from my opponents. I'm not bitter about that. I'm bitter that the judges, from the way I see it, and others might see it different, I believe that they were inexperienced and that they misjudged my fights. I'll never contest a fight result because I don't believe that any commission will ever admit wrongdoing and ever admit fault anyway, because then they set a precedent. So, I just get on with it. But I don't feel like fighting in Australia for two reasons is worth it. One, I won't fight for any of the commissions in Australia again. And two, the money on the regional circuit is disgusting. It's man, I'm 33 years old, going on 34 at the end of the year, and I got a baby, I got a wife, I got a mortgage, and man, I don't need to fight for $1,000 a fight again. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not to me. Man, I fought 5 times in 5 times in a 12-month period and won 5 fights straight to get in the UFC. And in that period, I probably, in actual fight purses and not ticket commissions, I probably made like $3,000, maybe $4,000 in 5 fights. So I'm not prepared to put my body through. I'm older now. The weight cuts aren't as easy. I can't do it around work like I used to. When I was younger, I walked around a little lighter, and I used to cut weight around work in full time and stuff like that. I can't afford to do that anymore, and I definitely can't afford to be injured fighting on a local circuit for $1,000. So, I'll look at international promotions and see what happens there.
Yeah, has there been any headway on that as far as your management? Because, there is a lot of great promotions out there like ACB or Brave or One Championship. Like, there's a lot out there as far as opportunities for a guy like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm injured at the moment. I'm not cleared to fight, so I guess it's a little hard for my manager to talk to promotions. But, I'd really like to explore options with Bellator or Ryzen. I really like fighting in America. And I've never fought in Japan, and I always hope that I get to fight in Japan before I retire from the sport anyway. So I would definitely look at options with either of those two promotions, and I'd be happy to sign single fight deals with promotions, you know what I mean? Like, to have a fight on a 1 fight deal, not be committed to anyone, fight when I feel like it. And, it's difficult when like being exclusive to a promotion for multi-fights is, it's hard because you kind of only get fights when they want to give them to you. I was with the UFC for like, a little under 2.5 years, and I fought 6 times, and I used to fight 5 times a year. So that's a little difficult for me, like, obviously I lost a few, but even winning like 2 fights a year it's not a lot of money. So I'd like to just, not be signed to a multi-fight deal, or at least not be exclusive to any particular area, and then just see where it takes me, and maybe a fight on ACB if it happens. I mean, I know that they come to Brisbane recently. I'm sure they're at the Gold Coast in December, so I'm sure they'll have some kind of intentions on coming down to this area again soon. So, I wouldn't want a 1 fight deal with them guys, or hopefully it works out for me, and I guess get to fight on Ryzen and Bellator. That's what I hope. That's what I'd like to do. Fight. I think Ryzen's not. They let Crocop fight on Bellator, so I think they're exclusive to Asia. So I'll be happy to do that, and then fight in Bellator in between. That'd be perfect for me.
That's great. When are you looking to return? You said you have an injury right now. Do you have an idea of when we could see you back in action?
So I've just started training. Not 100% yet. I'm still dealing with my knee injury, like my recovery. I'm not kicking and stuff like that. Just boxing, bit of jiu-jitsu, and some drilling, some wrestling, and that, and some strength and conditioning. So kind of just getting back into it, and that was just this week. So, sorry, man. Too much power in this Dodge Ram I'm driving. Hopefully end of September would be, definitely the earliest. that I could get back, and that'd probably be with like a 6-week camp. But October would be perfect if I get a fight in October. I'd like to get one before the UFC comes back to the region, so I can sort of dip my feet in the water again and get a victory. And maybe when they come back down here and they need someone, I'll be there. I know there's a few guys in the local circuit that are either coming off losses or they're injured, so you just never know when they might come knocking. If I never get back there, man, I'm happy. I live my dream, and I'd love to live it again. But like I said, I'm not young anymore, and I've got a family, so I need to put food on the table.
Damien, this was a blast, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. And again, we're very curious to see where you end up next. Just remind people where they can find you on social media. And if you have any sponsors or shout outs or anything like that, man, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so at Beatdown155 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit me up. I'm always down for a chat. And while you're at it, check out Australian Sports Nutrition. They ship worldwide, and they're in the US now, in Orange County. And Engage Fight Industries. Those guys, Engage Industries, they're unreal, man. They support all of us. So check them out.
What's up, fight fans? If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to see even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters. We've also got coverage at events, including post-fight press conferences and media scrums. And if you like this video, check out the video to my right. It's worth your time.